In 1872, a sailor aboard the British ship Dei Gratia notices something unusual, a ship drifting aimlessly in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. He immediately informs Captain David Morehouse. Morehouse steps onto the deck, takes his binoculars, and cannot hide his astonishment at what he sees. Because the ship before him is the Mary Celeste, which had departed from New York days earlier and should have already reached its destination. Moreover, its captain, Benjamin Briggs, is a close friend of his. But something is wrong. The ship is not moving, just drifting in the middle of the ocean. Even more strangely, it is completely silent. There are no signs of life. Unable to make sense of it, Captain Morehouse observes the ship from a distance. The entire crew watches it for about 2 hours from roughly 360 meters away. There is no movement, no people. Finally, convinced that something is wrong, they decide to board the ship. What they find is truly unsettling. Their suspicions are confirmed. There is no one on board. Captain Briggs is gone, his family is gone, and so are the 7 crew members. Yet the ship does not appear abandoned. Everything is in its proper place. There is no sign of disorder, struggle, or panic. The 1,700 barrels of alcohol being transported are still there. Only 9 of them show leakage. About 6 months' worth of food and water remains untouched. But where is the lifeboat and the rope that should be attaching it? They head to the lower deck and find about a meter of water accumulated there. Some of the pumps are not functioning properly. When they enter the captain's cabin, they notice that crucial navigation instruments such as the chronometer and sextant are missing. Captain Morehouse cannot make sense of it. The situation is puzzling. The people are gone. Yet it does not look like they fled in panic, leaving everything behind. At this point, the mystery deepens. Morehouse sails the ship to Gibraltar, but the story does not end there. The prosecutor accuses Captain Morehouse. You killed these people. The motive, he claims, is insurance money. However, this accusation is quickly disproven. The records clearly show that the timelines do not match. The Dei Gratia had departed 10 days after the Mary Celeste, making it nearly impossible for them to have caught up and committed such a crime. Captain Morehouse and his crew are eventually declared innocent, but suspicion never fully disappears. Instead of receiving the full salvage reward of $45,000, they are given only a small portion, $6,000. The case is closed in 1873 without a definitive conclusion. Years pass. Then in 1884, Arthur Conan Doyle steps in. He embellishes the story, adding fictional details such as warm meals, smoking pipes, and bloodstains, things that were never actually there, and writes a story. It captures public attention and quickly turns into a legend. Later, historian Conrad Byers reveals that these intriguing details were fabricated. Yet despite this, the mystery behind the incident remains unsolved. So, what could the truth be? Many theories have been proposed. That the ship was cursed, that the crew mutinied and killed the captain and his family, that pirates attacked, or even that an underwater earthquake caused a tsunami, forcing them to flee in fear. But none of these seem particularly convincing. The most plausible explanation appears to be this. The ship was carrying alcohol barrels, some of which were leaking. There was also water accumulating in the lower deck, and some pumps were malfunctioning. Captain Benjamin Briggs likely went below, saw all of this, and thought, what if these fumes build up and explode? Now consider this. The captain had his wife and child with him. How could he ignore such a risk? Most likely he did not act in panic, but made a cautious decision to move away temporarily. They boarded the lifeboat, taking essential navigation instruments with them. They probably tied the lifeboat to the ship, intending to return. But things did not go as planned. The wind picked up, causing the ship to move faster. The lifeboat was dragged behind, and at some point the rope snapped under the strain. At that moment, everything was over for the captain and his crew. A tiny lifeboat, alone in the vast ocean. Most likely within days they were either caught in a storm or could no longer survive hunger and thirst. And the most tragic part is this: the explosion they feared never happened. Meanwhile, the Mary Celeste drifted empty across the Atlantic Ocean for days, until it was finally found.